right, uncover your memoir. So bring up your scribe memoir outline doc. And Miles, can you post a link in the chat for people who don't have that? Just in case. So what we're going to do is we're going to start right at the top with find your memoir, right? So first question. As you sit here right this moment, what do you believe your memoir will be about? So let's take, I'll play the music. Let's take 2 minutes. Take 2 minutes and answer that. Right on the doc. Oh, I got to unmute it. All right. All right, next. Oh, come on. If you want to share your answer, please go ahead and feel free to put it in the chat. In fact, yeah, go ahead and make sure to put panelists in it. Well, you don't have to put panelists and attendees. If you only put panelists, then only Emily and I can see it. And Miles, who's a community manager for Scribe Writers Room, if you put it for everyone, then we can all see it. Let's see. Chris says therapeutic relief, freedom, belonging to humankind, healing for others. That was good. Last 10 years of my life, moving to France, opening a bike shop, starting from nothing, becoming a company that attracts global clients. That sounds kind of cool and interesting. Show what my experience has been like becoming a lawyer. Yeah, more people need to read that before going to law school. They probably won't go. How I uncovered inner peace. That's good. My journey with MS leading to a stem cell transplant. Growing up with parents with addiction and ongoing addiction issues. That's rough. Yeah, there's quite a few of those. All right, cool. Let's look at the next one. Number 2, what are you most excited about with regards to your memoir, right? And it could be any number of things. You're excited about uncovering your truth. You're excited about writing it. You're excited about having it done. You're excited about dealing with your issues, whatever you want. Let's go ahead and take 2 minutes. Write that right now. All right. Come on. All right. If you want to post in the chat, feel free. Let me post that there. Put that there. Let's see. Sharing all the years of hilarious stories. Yeah, cultural. Yeah. I mean, having. Let me make something clear. I talked about the intense emotional stuff with memoirs. You can have a lot of fun writing a memoir too. It can be really funny. God knows if I know that, if I know anything, I know that. So everything, if your memoir doesn't have a lot of deep emotional stuff in it, that's totally cool. That's just tend to be where most of the questions come from. So don't make it, I don't want anyone to feel like it has to have that. Owning my story, being able, good. What did Leslie say? Being able to look at my experiences collectively and find out what makes me me. That's a great one. Yeah. Possibilities of moving on with my life, Edie says. Hearing from others how my book has helped them, that'd be great. Sense of relief from having done it, seeing it on the shelves, libraries and bookstores, traveling and talking about it, looking in the eyes of those who read it and were moved by it. Those are all fantastic. Really good. A bunch of good ones here. Sharing my experience as a two-time Oscar, cancer. I thought they won 2 Oscars and like you're an Oscar survivor. Wait, okay, well I could understand that actually. Being able to put a comical twist on my horrific, daunting experiences I've had dating as a millennial. Sharing my experience, a 2-time cancer survivor. Yep. Here's a good one. Having the completed manuscript in my hands, ready to be proofread and translated, from Laura. There you go. All right, good answers, all of you. Number 3. What do you expect from yourself in the process of writing your memoir? Go ahead and write that down. It can be good and bad. All right. So put your answers in the chat. Personal growth, how I've arrived. That's what Isabella says. Transparency and honesty. That's great, Robin. Melissa says procrastination, overthinking. Wait, that's what you expect from yourself? Wanting to protect others' feelings, philosophical spins. Okay, that's good that you at least recognize that that might be coming. That's actually good for you for being honest. You should put at least a little bit of self-awareness, Melissa. Jenna, what do you expect to fall down, get up, dust off, and restart? Okay, that'll work. Anna, I expect to enjoy it, to do it. Completing a book's a big achievement. Yep. Lynn says a feeling of accomplishment after doing MFA 5 years ago. Being able to move past, beyond my past, give myself a new purpose and voice. We have so many MFA people who come to these, and it always makes me laugh. I'm like, y'all could have paid me 6 figures. I would have taught you that shit way quicker. I'm kidding. All right. Not really, but sort of. Number 4, How would you feel? How would you like to feel after you've written your memoir? Right? So let's take 2 minutes, do that one. All right, let's start to look at post some answers. Let's start looking at how you want to feel when you're done. Accomplished. Like I see accomplished like 6 times in this row. I would like to feel certainty about my place in my own life. Great. Proud and unashamed to share. That's great, Robin. Another Robin says self-acceptance, lighter, clarity of purpose, able to move forward. Melissa wants to feel heard. Leslie wants to feel like she solved the riddle. Sharisa wants to feel, if I'm Charisse, sorry, relieved, renewed, transformed, accomplished, proud, excited. Okay, I want to take a second here. As you guys, if you're posting, it's mostly ladies, keep posting. I want to take a second though. These are all fantastic, and I'm not putting any of this down or taking anything away. Be careful how much pressure you put on your book, though. Right? I'm just gonna say this now. You can put all this stuff down, but understand that the memoir will not do any of this, right? This is how would you like to feel after you've written it. So you've done your work to do the memoir, and then that's how you're going to feel. I'm sure most of you get that. I just want to make sure that none of you feel like, oh, I'm going to write a memoir and then magic and I'll feel amazing. It's like, no, the magic, the stuff in the middle is the hard part, the stuff you got to do, the emotional work. Okay, as long as you get that, just being clear. All right, cool. Let's move to number 5. How do you think your life will change after writing your memoir? Right? So let's take 2 minutes and do that one. All right. All right. Let's see. Go ahead and put your answers in the chat. And this is, which one is this again? This is, all right. How do you think your life will change after writing your memoir? Very little, some sense of accomplishment, maybe get a date. All right, Stephen. Melissa says, I'll feel calmer internally because of the experience of expression. Definitely. Freeing my mental space for other things is great. Joey says, I'll be a stronger person, be more sure of who I am, where I'm going. That's great. Gina says, or Jenna, not much will change. We'll make it easier for other families to tell their stories. That changes a lot, Jenna. If families start speaking truth to each other, everything changes. Even if it's little truths. Tracy, understood, my actions will make sense. I will be able to see how my then got me to where I am now. My kids will see how being raised by me influences their choices. That's a really good one. Heidi says, I'll be a more consistent writer. That's definitely true. Charisse says, I think I'll be more vulnerable and less guarded. Absolutely. Deborah says, possibly not much. Increased speaking engagements, discussion groups, masterminds. I'll be viewed differently. I'm not sure how you're going to be getting speaking and discussion groups for a memoir. It depends what the memoir is about. That could happen, though. Krista, I'm afraid of losing the love and comfort of things the way they are. There's a lot of fear being projected here. Yeah, I'll tell you, writing a memoir, if you speak truth, will almost always change your life. Most of the change in the long run will be better. I think in the long run, all the change is better. But short term, it can be very painful. That's 100%. I don't want to sugarcoat that, assuming you publish it. And even if you don't publish it, you sit down and write your truth. You may realize some really hard things about people in your family or people you're in relationships with now, or there's a million things. There's a lot of hard truths you may realize that are unpleasant. Ivy says, maybe others who are fearful of writing will see the benefits. There you go. Catharsis, courage, that changes you yet? Ivy, I would ask you, how does that impact you too? You're talking about others, which is cool, but don't forget about yourself. All right, number 6. We got 10 total questions, so we're past halfway. Do you anticipate your memoir will cover your whole life, a specific period in your life, a specific relationship or theme in your life, or something else? Let's just take a minute right now. Write down what you anticipate right now your memoir will cover. And you can change. All right. Go ahead and post what you're thinking. Last 13 years of my life. Tracy says, cover the 14 duty stations of a 24-year naval career. Might be a lot to cover. Jack says, I anticipate my memoir will be about a specific time when I was diagnosed with cancer. Yeah, that makes sense. Michelle says, I'm not sure. It's true. You don't have to be sure right now. At first, I thought my whole life, but now I'm thinking my life is still in flux, obviously, that maybe I will pick a specific theme. This way, I'm not limited to one specific time and can include many parts of my life. True. You can do all that. Joey says I'll cover several areas of my life that add up to something later. All right. Patricia Matt says, have to start at the beginning. No, actually, you don't. You can decide to, but you don't have to. Isabella says, I believe that writing a memoir touch on my whole life, my whole being, which took 50 years to create, that the focus will be the last 10 years. All right. Snapshots of pivotal moments and how I saw my truth. That's pretty cool. All right. A lot of people in the military. Regis says, my married life. Yeah. Lynn says, my parents' divorce to my own marriage and 2 children. Okay. All right, cool. Good.
I think this is a good time, Tucker, to cover one of the questions we've got in the Q&A, which is, do memoirs vary in style? writing on a theme versus writing a chronology versus writing on lessons learned?
Right. So it's a great question. I intentionally do not spend too much time on question 6. I could spend a lot of time on chronology versus theme versus relationship versus other thing. And I'll tell you why I don't. Because most of you, I believe most people who sit down to write a memoir, they know what they want to say. They may not have admitted it to themselves yet. They may not even consciously realize it, but deep down they know. And the more, what I've discovered as I've taught a lot of people how to write memoirs, the more prescribed I make it, like the more like, here's the checklist, do this, do this, do this, the less effective it is for people. And that people definitely need boundaries and guidelines and rails to go down, which we're giving you, but not exact step-by-step checklists. Like the nonfiction program is far more prescribed. First you do this, then you do this, then you do this. You see how they relate. Like it's a very prescribed, because that's a different style of book. The thing I would tell you about question 6 is, honestly, it's a little bit of a throwaway question. I don't care. You're going to figure that out as you write the book. The reason I'm putting it here is so you can put a flag in the ground and understand where you are now. And then as we outline, you'll probably change your mind. And then as you write, you'll change your mind. Maybe, maybe not. It kind of doesn't matter, but you're going to sort it all out as you finish the book, as you write the book. Sorry. Does that answer the question, Emily?
I think so. And I want to add to, we've said various iterations of this leading up to this point, but the more that you focus on craft, the more that you focus on the quality of the writing, the more you try to focus on exactly what your memoir is supposed to be, the more likely you are to avoid your truth.
Yeah, we go through that deeply in the writing section on this. Yeah. So let's hold off to that for a minute, because you're exactly right. But I want to get that with writing. So let's go to number 7. If you were to title your memoir just right now, not permanently, what would the title be? Take a minute to do that. And just brainstorm, whatever. All right. Who wants to post some of theirs? There's some good ones. The Bike Shop. Arranged marriages, bliss to togetherness. That's pretty cool. Heather says, pretty funny for a lawyer. My unconventional path from law school to comedy. That is unconventional. I know a little bit about that.
I love Anna's The Country That Does Not Exist Anymore.
Ooh.
That's really good.
Yeah. Grounded on unbecoming. Cassidy says, healing for a second chance. Oh, this is Jack. Jack says, having a ball. How testicular cancer changed my life. Oh, Jack. There you go. Golf clap for Jack. And his name's Jack, of course, too. Yeah, there you go. All right. Jordan says, the Bumble Diaries. Stephen Webb, The Gift of No Choice. How being severely paralyzed, bankrupt, helps you realize there's a gift in everything. The Gift of No Choice is actually a very good title.
Mm-hmm. From Maggie, what I want to tell you before I die. I think sometimes some of the best working titles are the ones that evoke the things that you want to write about, whether it's actually a good title or not. That one, actually, I think is really good.
Mm-hmm. That's really good. Don't Follow My Path. That's a pretty good title. I would question your story you're telling yourself. I'm not sure, but it's a good title.
Edie,
Let's.
God is funny. Is she writing about God in Tucson? Just kidding.
Oh yeah, right. Not funny. That's not funny. Let's science the shit out of this from Charisse. I'm not. That's a good title. I'm not sure that's a memoir. Well, maybe it could be. It depends what it's about. So I don't know. Flo, the dog at the end of the tunnel. Hmm. Yeah. Alexandra is Savage. I'm pretty sure there's a couple books called Savage, but that's no big deal. You can't copyright a title, so you can call your book the Holy Bible if you want. If you want, that's fine. I wouldn't recommend it, but you can do it.
Robin, not my mother's daughter.
Yeah, I saw that one. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go to number 8. Why write your memoir now? Why not wait? Let's take. I'll probably give you a little bit more than a minute, but give me the short, honest answer. Why are you doing it now? Why not wait? All right. Let's see. Let's see what people are saying. If you still need time, just keep going. It's fine. Maggie says my daughter needs it for her life. Good one. Edie, because waiting sucks the life out of me. Damn, you're right, Edie. I'm with you. That's great. Anna says why I still remember. I'm still able to write. Also, people waiting for my story. Love it. That's amazing. Dorothea says write it now because there'll be more to come for another. True. I've waited long enough. There's about 20 of those. Something Ivy says something inside me is compelling me to write right now. Maybe I have more time behind me than in front of me. Yeah, it is a strange thing when you start to grapple with your own mortality, isn't it? I'm 44 and I have 3 kids, and I don't think I ever really truly grappled with my mortality until I started having kids and realizing, God willing, that they're gonna outlive me. And of course, everyone knows they're gonna die, of course, but actually emotionally grappling with it. And then I'm 44, so realizing I may have more life behind me than ahead of me. Like I could easily die at 85, like that's not unreasonable. And so like, even if it's, I'm close to halfway, I don't know, I might not live to 90. I'm going to try, but who knows? Jordan, I'm currently unemployed and locked in my house. Well, yeah, hopefully there won't be another time like this. I agree with you, Jordan. You're right. Although if you lived in Texas, you would not have to be in your house. Heather, I finally have free time to build an audience who's expressed interest. Awesome. Joey, it's been in my soul to write for too long already. I can always write another book if I have more to tell. You do, and that's great. I'm with you. Jack, it's always something I wanted to do, and now that we're in quarantine, I have the time to do it. All right. These all look awesome. Oh my goodness, wait, someone just wrote, Jenna, because I'm dying. The enemy would like me to set this project aside. Well, good for you. That's awesome. We're all dying, by the way. Maybe you're just dying faster than the rest of us, but we're all dying. Heidi, I'm about to be 37. I have baby children. I have done a lot of growing the past years. I have things to say. Yeah. I'll tell you one of the big reasons I want to keep writing. I'll probably write memoirs the rest of my life, at reasonable stages, because I grow and change so much. Like the books I wrote 10 years ago or 15 years ago, obviously I'm like, that's me. I did those things. It's hard for me to even get into that mindset anymore. Like I almost can't. Like in a weird way, I almost don't even know who that person is. Like, and I don't mean that literally. I just mean it like emotionally, experientially. Certain stories I'm like, oh, I could still do that today. That's hilarious. And other things I'm like, who the fuck was I? Like, I couldn't conceive of even writing about that now, much less doing it. And I don't even mean that. I don't mean it in a judgmental way or all that. Like, I don't, that's not my issue with it. It's just more like, I was such a different person. Um, and I'll bet I'll feel that way about myself. I hope I feel that way about myself in 10 or 15 years, because that means I'm still growing and still evolving. And so, all right, next. Number 9, we got 2 left. Why are you really writing your memoir? Really? Give me your real answer. Honest. Put it down, 2 minutes. All right, there's been a bunch posted. So if you're still working, keep working. It's fine. I want to start reading some of these because they're really good. Why are you really writing your memoir? Self-therapy. Good. Oh, look at Elaine. Proof that I existed. Good for you. Whew. That's a deep one. John, cathartic and interesting. Good. Miriam, I was here. Mm-hmm. Anna, to leave something behind when I'm not there, to create something that will remain after I'm gone, to create something unique my friends might enjoy when I'm still here, remember me when I'm not. Good for you, Anna. Rajesh, I'm probably screwing up your name, dude. I'm sorry. My legacy. Anna, because I'm tired of being complicit through inaction. Ooh, good for you. Love that. Flo, I'm curious to know if I can do it and who I am. You will be different, Flo. Jordan, prove to myself I can write and finish something of this magnitude. Good. Jasik, because it's a story inside of me, I need to create it. Good. See, notice how Jasik used the word create, not even tell. Tell implies the story already exists. I'm going to tell you a trick about stories. You get to create your own story. You don't have to. Tell means that it's an objective fact outside of you. And of course, events are facts, right? But create implies you get to dictate what your story is. And you do. It's one of the weird things about reality. You don't get to dictate like this pen is a pen. I don't get to transmogrify it into a spoon. It's not the Matrix, right? But you get to tell your own story the way that you want. You get to make meaning out of it. Robin, the time has come. Draw a defining line in the sand, document how far I've come so I can move forward and uncover new lessons. Good for you. Heather, to know I can and have tangible evidence that I was able to do it rather than talking about it. Good for you. These are inspiring. Melissa, to be understood. Now, Melissa, let me just tell you, to be understood is great, but don't expect anyone else necessarily to understand you, right? You get to be understood to yourself. That's the only thing you can control. There will be other people who understand you now, so no doubt. But I'm just thinking, like, sometimes people are like, I want my dad to get me. And so they'll write a memoir. And I'm not saying you're doing any of this. I'm just, as an example. But if your dad doesn't understand you, a lot of times that's his problem. And there's nothing you could for a lot of times, there's nothing you could write that's going to change that. He's got to do his work. I'm not saying that necessarily about you, just for everybody. Edie, I can see my truth on paper. Yep, I can be a witness for my own fucking truth. Good for you. These are such good answers. Leslie, I wish I'd known these things as a young woman. Yep. And it'll help you understand a lot of connections, Leslie, to your current life. To Robin, to acknowledge my growth. Goddamn right. Ivy says, I want my children and grandchildren to understand who I was coming up. I wanted to ask my father, who died 21 years ago, questions I can't. That's one of the big things for me. Like, I would give anything to have my great-grandparents' stories. So my kids will know who I am, and my great-grandkids and great-great-grandkids, for whatever it does for them. Patricia, tie up loose ends, forgive those, not sorry. Okay? Forgiveness is for you, not for them. Remember that. Stephen, I share my story most days on stage and live. It changes people's lives. They want the whole story. I want to leave my life as a lesson. Good for you. So many good ones. I can't even read them all. There's too many. Proud I made it through and want to pass on the value of creating resiliency to my kids so they can pass it on. Good for you. I'm very excited. I'm convinced that a lot of the problems the world has right now, we would not have as more people cared about doing stuff like this. But maybe I'm wrong. All right, last one, number 10. Given your answers above, all of them, what do you think your memoir is really about? So number 9 was, why are you writing it? 10 is, what's it really about? Really. Take 2 minutes. Let's see. All right. Let's see. We got some healing. Larisha says, Edie says, Tucker, that's what you just said about your great grandparents inspired me. That's not this. So why are you really writing it? Let's put, actually, let's go ahead and pop out. We're done with the slides. So my journey from a different culture, what's it really about? My chance at life after becoming disabled at 34 during the prime of my legal career, Cassidy says. 5 years later, I may be able to get to work again because of experimental treatment that's close to a cure for MS. I did this, and Cassidy says, I did this in spite of a narcissistic mother and with constant thoughts about how my dad died at the same age as me. That's intense. That's no joke. Robbins. I am not a mistake. I am a worthy and lovable human. Whew, good for you. Good for you for owning that. That's hard. Chuck, my response as a child and adult to people of color that I admired in my youth will explore the challenges and obstacles they faced and overcame. I think about how my attitudes could be redeemed. All right, so Chuck, I'm not exactly sure what the memoir is about, but that sounds like you're writing. If you're writing about your reaction to other people, you can do that, absolutely, but do it as a way of exploring yourself, not the other people, because whatever issues you have or don't have with other people is always about you, not about them. Which is one of those weird things. If you don't understand, you can ask a further question about it. That's one of those weird things. It took me a while to understand, too. Melissa, to not be lost in the passing of years for posterity for tangible validation. Yep. Monica, healing. I want to look in the mirror and see the same girl or woman I used to know, only a much better and whole version. Okay? Just understand, Monica, again, the book doesn't heal you. The work you do writing the book does. I'm sure you know that, just making sure. Jordan, discovering how I function within my true desires for romantic relationships. That's really good. If you want to examine a specific area of your life and really kind of like figure out the truth, writing about a memoir about it that'll do the job. Robin, my journey to self-love, expecting and deserving more for myself. Okay. Good. Connie, self-healing, my daughters and future generations of my huge family. Good.
Oh, I love Susan's response. How I listen to what I know.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So here's something I want to point out. Dorothea says this. I'm not criticizing you, Dorothea, but this is important. My memoir is to share a yes, you can do this message to others, especially women who feel constricted by worrying about what will others think of me. As long as one is not hurting themselves or another, then go for it. You're talking to yourself right now, and you're justifying it by saying, I'm going to do it for others. That's okay, but it will not produce a good memoir. I would imagine this reframed from your perspective. My memoir will share my message about how I can do things after feeling constricted by worrying about what others would think about me. What I've learned is as long as I'm not hurting myself or another, then I can go for it. Right? This is what I mean when I say a memoir is not about telling people what to do. You're telling people what to do as a way of separating yourself from your own emotions. And if you've gone through and done this work, that's fantastic. Write about your work. Okay? Listen to what I'm about to tell all of you. This is later on too, but I'm going to cover it here. No one's going to read your memoir to learn about you. They read your memoir to learn about themselves. But the way they learn about themselves is by you being honest about yourself. Does that make sense? All right. Like it's one of those weird paradoxes that I've got a whole shelf of memoirs on this side. Aside from the 2 or 3 people I know, I don't really give that much of a shit about most of them, and nothing against them. I just don't know them, right? I don't care. But I love some I'll give you a really good example. Agassi's book, Open, Andre Agassi. Nothing against Andre. I don't care. I'm not a tennis person. I don't care about tennis. I love sports, but tennis is not a sport to me. Sports involve contact. Tennis is lawn dancing for European aristocracy. It's fucking nonsense. Not that I have an opinion about it, but his book is amazing. His book's incredible. I love the book. I learned so much about myself reading that book. And I don't care about lawn dancing at all. See? All right.
There's something that you're touching on there that I think we should add to the teachings too. It's a lesson that I've learned from you, which is practice paying attention to when you say you as you write, when you're pointing that finger outside of yourself. And you can write the exact same thing, but just see what happens when you swap out I instead. I can't tell you how transformative that very simple practice has been in helping me discover my truth.
Yeah, we talk about that in the writing on the thing, but you're absolutely right. Every time you write you, change it to I and see what happens. So those of you want to see a really good example of this. I'm not trying to pimp my own stuff, but like this is a lesson that I learned. And so I practice it. Go look on whatever your favorite social media is, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm on all of them. Usually Tucker Max. Instagram is real Tucker Max, but Facebook and you can see I post lessons I've learned every single day. Lessons I've learned, right? So like here, I'll read so you can see the difference. Hold on. Right. All right. Here's today's. Every person I've ever met who said they were trying to make things better for other people but did not have their own life in order ended up making everything worse for everyone, including themselves. I've ever met, right? I didn't say you, or I didn't talk about other people like in the abstract. I just talked about my experience with people like this. Let's do another one. The only toxic relationship I can have is with myself. Every relationship in my life is simply a reflection of the relationship I have with myself. Once I got this, I had to make many changes. Notice I didn't say, most people would have written this. The only toxic relationship you can have is with yourself. Every other relationship in your life, fuck that. You can do that. There's nothing wrong with it. That's what most people do, is they project it outwards. You. Memoir has got to be I, for it to be effective. It's not like a rule. It's not like if you may, but it's just not a memoir then it's just nonfiction, prescriptive nonfiction. All right. Should we take, what time is it? 2? Yeah, let's take a 5-minute break. That was pretty intense. We're going to take 5 minutes, get up, walk around, go to the bathroom, whatever. We're going to come back. We're going to start working on outlining and then writing plans and all that. We're going to start getting really into now you know what your memoir is and you know why you're writing it. That's awesome. Cherie says, I already cried twice. Good. Cherise, sorry, I keep screwing up your name. I got a friend named Cherie. Sorry, Cherise. Good for you. You're doing fantastic.